Well, hello again. It's the DJ. As you can see, I'm not sitting in front of the weights or anything like that. And it's because I tried it. It didn't go good. There were too many sounds coming out of me that I kind of want to keep to myself. Not from my body, from my mouth. I told you I squeal, I whine, I do a lot because I go hard. And if you lift light weights, then you have to do about 20, 25, 30 reps. And then I was out of breath. So it's best I go ahead and stay in my lane. Stop trying to do too much. I just started this whole thing. So I got this little microphone thing. I don't know if I should attach it or just hold it. I don't know. But I don't want to get any feedback, so we'll see how it goes. Turn it out this way, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I started out by telling the story of how I became a pimp accidentally. I just wanted to be a stripper, and yeah. So those are the in the first couple of videos. I didn't just go from military, walking through the gate, and then apply to strip club. I was just giving you all kind of a backstory. So I'm gonna dive into the very dark and scary time after I separated from the military. And it was dark and scary because I was still 18 when I separated. I'm one of those weird kids or whatever who graduated early. So I actually had to wait until I turned 18 to join. So I'm not going to get back into the whole military thing. I already let you know it wasn't for me. And I found a very unique way of getting out, I guess. Well, the opportunity came. So again, go back and watch that video. So they walked me through the gate of the military, and they do me walk. They didn't offer no taxi. Once I said that I wasn't going to leave the state, then they were like, all right, well, call somebody to come get you. Of course, they're not happy with me because I didn't act right, or at least not the way they think I should have acted. And had someone told me that they were going to be talking to me like that and treating me like that, then I'd be like, oh, well, I'm not wired for that. Thank you, but no thank you. All right, so I'll walk through the gate. It closes. That's it. I'm a civilian again. I got the civilian clothes on my back. I was pretty good with money, so the military takes care of everything. I didn't spend any of my money the whole time I was in. You know, most of it was there, so I had a little bit of change, and they did give me the equivalent of what a plane ticket would have cost to go back where I came from, which I guess, helped me on up out of there. So, call a taxi, go get a hotel room, and I just chill for the day because I don't know much. I know my surroundings within maybe a 5-mile radius from the base. I made a few contacts, met a few people. As far as, I guess you can call them friends or acquaintances and things like that. But nobody that I can trust. Nobody that I feel comfortable telling, hey, I effed up and I'm homeless. And that's the long and short of it. I was homeless. At 18 years old, if you're military, man, they'll give you the world. You can rent cars at 18 in the military, as long as you're military. They'll let you rent apartments. There's so many things that they give you if you're military or will allow you to do because you're military. I lost all of that. Now I'm just some dude from, where I'm from in Texas with an attitude problem, a little bit of money, a lot of skills, but absolutely no know-how. I don't know how to use any of my skills yet. I just know I got them. So you do the traditional thing. You start looking for a job. And I did. The first job I got was cleaning up after some kind of character actors. They would do reenactments of the Alamo and stuff like that. But it was an attraction where people would come and pay money to see them. And these actors would absolutely destroy the dressing rooms and the bathrooms. And my job was to come there at night and clean it up. And I figured if I had an overnight job, third shift, graveyard shift, whatever you want to call it, then I left me all day to still go look for jobs and better my situation. So I got that job, and it wasn't paying much, but it made it to where I could keep a hotel room if I did that and found a way to hustle a little bit. So that's what I did. Again, I met a few people and I had a little bit of money. At that point, I had only had experience with one product, the Gateway. So that's what I went and did. I went and bought as much as I could without leaving myself naked out there as far as cash. And, I just had to grind it out, sack by sack. And it was rough. It was real rough. All right. And I held on like that for a little while. The job market wasn't really hiring, especially 18. I can't tell them where I've been for the last 6 months. So I just had to tell them I graduated high school and I had to move to Texas. And now I'm just here. I couldn't tell them where I was because that's frowned upon. If you tell anyone that you left the military for any other reason other than, honorable discharge, they look at you real bad. That's a very bad thing. It's a sign of poor character, So, and I get that. That's our country's military, man. You got to respect that. Hindsight 2020. 18 didn't give a damn. So, eventually, this method that I came up with just wasn't enough. I couldn't afford myself, and I couldn't afford to even keep a roof over my head. And I ended up not being able to afford the hotel room. I couldn't find any place that would even think about renting to me, and I couldn't afford it even if they did. And I was homeless. I'll never forget the first day of actually being homeless, literally having nowhere to go. But I still didn't have it as bad as everyone else because even though I didn't have a home and I didn't have a car, I still had money coming in. I still had the job. I still had my little side hustle. It just, again, I have skills, just no know-how. So I'm not doing the math. I'm not realizing that I'm still living beyond my means, even though in my mind, I'm living a very budgeted life. But I'm not doing ham and cheese or peanut butter and jelly. No, I'm still riding through to the fast food restaurant and getting a meal. I'm still eating 3 times a day. I'm not thinking. Okay, I'm living normal in a very abnormal situation, and I am too young to understand that I need to go into survival mode. I thought I was in survival mode. So now I got to get creative. Luckily, I work at a place where there's bathrooms, showers. These are actors. They have dressing rooms, and because they're naked, when they get dressed, there's no cameras in there. So I started getting my work done in half the time. I would take a shower, brush my teeth, and I would go to sleep in the bathroom where I knew nobody could walk in because you could lock the door. And I would nap out for about 3 hours before it was time for me to leave, get up for the last hour, spruce everything up. And that was my life for about a good 3 or 4 months, man. And I would just stay up all day and just be wherever I decided to go. I grind, I hustle, I sack up, I go to job interviews. Again, I made some connections, mainly female. But you can't walk up with no female trying to be her man or trying to get in her goodies and be homeless. So I had to keep the mysterious, my life has to remain this way because you don't want to know what I got going on and all this. I had to play it up like I'm, too big to be known when I was just actually homeless, man. I couldn't afford anything and I was too embarrassed to ask for any help. So the females couldn't know. So if I go over there, I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna need to stash this here for a little bit. Don't ask no questions. Just, you want to help your man out or what? And, oh, of course, these females love to live out those TV moments when they have to. But they just didn't understand. Well, they didn't understand because I didn't tell them, but they didn't know that I was just homeless and I didn't have any place to put my stuff. So I didn't have to lie, but I didn't tell the truth. I just played up like some big dude that's out there in these streets and got things moving and shaking. No, homeless. So I had a place to do that. And of course, I wasn't a one-woman man at that time. So I had a place to take the second shower, at least, because if I was lucky, I could only get two. One at the job, and on days off, then I had to settle for one, unless I went house jumping, female to female. And I don't know why that sounds wrong to me, but it's like I could only see one female a day. I can't double up. That's just, I don't know. In my mind, it was wrong. 18-year-old mind, so don't go in on me. Anyway, sorry about that if it's too loud. I gotta stop doing that. This mic is new, so sorry if that was in your ear. I will learn. I'm new to this. I get older, so I'm starting to make those old man sounds. Anyway, so I go on like this for a couple of months, say about 3, maybe even 4. Nothing dawned on me, and I don't understand why to this day, nothing dawned on me to try to switch my job, because now my job is like my home. This is the only place that I know I can bathe and go to and be there and sleep. So now I can't leave that job. I need it, but it's not paying enough. So I got another job. And because I had experience as a DJ, I knew how to hook up the equipment. So I became an assistant to a DJ. It was part-time, of course, but he was a very known wedding DJ, and he was good, man. He was really good. That's one of those guys who was just born to do this. If you don't like him, there's something wrong with you. One of those kind of dudes. And I learned how to do weddings by watching him. How interactive he was, how personable he was, and I soaked it all up because it's like I just didn't understand how he could walk up on people cold the way he did and then leave within 2 or 3 minutes, best friends with the person. Like, that was amazing to me. So I soaked all of that up. I watched him. I picked up on everything. And one day, that opportunity finally hit where he ended up losing his voice right before he had a gig. And it was a big wedding. And I mean, I don't want to label people, but I'm just going to say the bride was real serious about her wedding. Real serious. And when she found out that he lost his voice because he was the premier DJ, that he wasn't going to be doing it, and then she was ready to cancel the wedding, but it was too late. She had to go through with it, and without even knowing if I could, with only hearing my microphone voice, he told the lady, don't worry about it. My protege, I've been training him for years. He lied. No, he hadn't. No, he hadn't. I've only been working for that man for a couple of months. And when I told him I was a DJ and I DJ'd my own prom and I DJ'd everything. That was just, in my town, I DJ'd everywhere. And I would do it for free outside the school, and the school would pay me like $50 to $100 and let me into the event free to DJ it. In my mind, I'm a kid, so if I can go to the dance and come out with more money in my pocket than I went in, then hell, I'm up. So it was good to me. But I had a little bit of experience, and I was good at hooking up the equipment. Again, I got some size to me. I was a go-getter, and I'm a good worker. I really am. I've never been fired from a job. I've always rose to the top. So I told you that competitive nature because of my mental condition. So I was good. And that opportunity came. And he could spin, but he couldn't talk. So I had to do it. I had to announce the wedding party. I had to make the jokes on the microphone. I had to keep the party going. The voice is what keeps the party going. The music keeps the vibe, but the voice keeps the party. And you cannot, absolutely under any circumstances, mess up any names when you announce the wedding party, especially the bride and groom. Most brides and grooms, they want to pick exactly the way you say it, and you have to say it verbatim, and you better not pause, breathe, spit, lisp, nothing. It has to be perfect. And whatever you say before you announce them has to have everybody on their feet at their maximum energy, clapping, wooing, doing that loud whistle thing. You have to hype them up before you announce it. And I nailed it, man. It was so much fun. I told you this DJ thing, I don't know why, but I took to it. I was good at it, all aspects of it from jump. So I nailed it. I nailed it so well. And I was such a better dancer than the guy I worked for. I was teaching them all kinds of new line dances they didn't know. I was showing them how to do moves. I did this thing where I gave all the guys these black hats that looked like the Michael Jackson hats, and I gave all the women, I don't know what they call them, the little things they throw around from back in the day, I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about. And I had a little dance off, and I danced with the men, led them into it, like a you got served, and then went to the women's side and grabbed one of my things and went over and I led their side, and we battled, and everybody had a ball, man. So I booked another wedding at that wedding, and they specifically said, we want you to do it, not him, you. I was like, okay, so I can do the talking. He's like, no, we want you to spin too, because halfway through the wedding, I had to start telling him what I needed him to play for me so I could hype up the crowd, which made his music set better. So even the bride said, if I would have known you were that good, I would have just hired you. And she said it in front of him because she was still pissed off at him. And the relationship was never the same after that between me and him. He still called me to work, but it wasn't the same vibe. He made sure to tuck my ass way in the back. He made sure that I no longer had to dress the part because he had me wearing a tuxedo right along with him as his right-hand man. After I booked the other wedding, it became a thing of, well, we don't want to be overbearing. We don't want to steal too much attention by, outdressing, trying to make it a joke thing. So after you set up, you can just come back at this time and then just wait. And then once everybody leaves, we can break it down. I was like, all right, not a problem. But I knew what it was. So out of respect for him, everything that was already on the books that he had, I finished that out for him. I stayed his assistant until he finished out the things he had booked already. But after that, I let him know that I was going to go ahead and leave. And I told him why. I was like, look, man, I get it. DJing is a very, very small niche when it comes to gigs. And when you have your place in there, the last thing you need is some young gun coming through, stealing your thunder. So I get why he acted like that. But it was too late. I had already Had business cards handed out for the wedding that I booked. I was ready. I had that thing set and ready. And I knew that if I nailed this wedding by myself, that I would be set. Of course, when I first booked the wedding, it was, oh, don't worry about it. You can use my equipment, blah, 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 blah. I didn't even bother asking them for the equipment because I knew what the answer was going to be. Or I didn't, but I didn't want to even go there because it would have pissed me off because he's messing with my money and I might have overreacted. So they had a place where they actually let you rent DJ equipment. And I was fortunate enough to still be able to have a little bit of money on me. And I just threw a Hail Mary, man. I spent everything I had renting that equipment for the night. The wedding went well. I charged half of what he did only because I was new to it. So I didn't want to sit there and overcharge. But I basically broke even by the time they paid me, and people tipped me. You know, it was nice. It was real nice. They were good to me, and they fed me, and it's a wedding I'll never forget because it started my wedding DJ career. I left that wedding with 3 more on my books. 1 paid a deposit to guarantee that I would not be booked because their wedding was the following year. And we were like halfway into the year. So they were just wanting to make sure that I didn't go anywhere. And that's what he told me. If you take my money, you better be here. I said, yes, sir. And I was there. And dude was if you've never been to Texas and you think about what a Texan represents, what they are, and you just picture it in your head, and I mean, you got to lean heavy into the stereotypes, okay? We're talking about the bullhorns on the front of cars type deal. Like, you got to really lean into the obnoxious stereotypes of what you think a Texan is. That's who he was. Like, tell you now, take my money now. You bet. Okay. I don't even want to see what comes next. So I was there. Anyway, the other weddings were close. And they didn't put a deposit down that day, but they wanted to meet me the next week. And I decided to try something. I was like, look, after the first wedding I got, and this, that, and the other, things kind of went. I got booked. I kind of got famous overnight with the whole thing. So unfortunately, these are my prices in order to sit there and, you know, build my business. I've had to charge more. Man, they didn't even blink. Turns out I was still undercharging by a whole digit. At that time, the average wedding DJ was charging $1,200 to $1,500. And I'm sitting here like, it's gonna be about $700, man. Sorry. Man, that man paid me so quick. Not only did he give me a deposit, he paid me the whole $700, and was like, can I get a receipt? I know now that was because he wanted to make sure once I found out that I was underselling myself, that I wouldn't try to up the price on him. So he hurried up and paid me and asked for a receipt, and I gave it to him. I charged the same price for all 3 weddings because I got them all at the same wedding. I didn't want them talking and thinking I was trying to get over. So even though I found out very quickly that I was undercharging, I did those 3 weddings for that price only because it was experience and they were great people. So from that point on, with the job I had at night, still homeless now, but I was doing a wedding like every couple of weeks. And it didn't take long. After those 3, I started charging $1,000 flat up. That's it. Just $1,000. And the cost of living wasn't as high, nowhere near as high as it is now. And I was able to be okay. And as a DJ, just doing weddings, and of course, you know, people were having other get-togethers, family reunions, barbecues. So I was picking up little gigs here and there, you know, 250 here, 300 there. Still not in the clubs yet. Still hadn't made it to that yet. But I was getting more DJ experience, and I was actually supporting myself being a DJ, but still homeless, living out that 3rd job. Okay. So being that I am who I am, you know what I did with the money. side hustle time. So then I knew how to deal with the gateway in the business, but I had been secretly brushing up on the, I don't know what we're going to call it. uh, y'all know what it is. When you leave gateway, you know where you go next as far as the street pharmaceutical thing. So I went there. Scarface. Yeah, I went there. So got my first little ball. Realized very quickly it's a different game. And I also realized that I didn't like it. I didn't like that game because I didn't have enough heart. I had been in some fights, I had done some things, but not in the level of they can come find me about this. All right. So I chilled. I chilled on that for a little while, stayed low. I still did it, but at a low key. I didn't try to grow until I got older, When I mean older, I'm talking about in time, because when you're homeless, man, you have to, you age quicker, you learn quicker, you gain wisdom quicker because you are in survival mode at all times. Okay. So I grew up quickly, very quickly, and stopped all that hee ha ha games and being a little kid. I stopped the teenage mentality and started grown manning. Now I'm still a teenage grown man, and so I'm not good at it at all. And I made a bunch of mistakes along the way. But I did the wedding DJ and the gigs and that job up until I met a female that she was older than me. And I knew she wanted to get with me, but she was so naive. She was so naive. And I wasn't physically attracted to her. So I had to figure out how to buy some time without having to touch her, to be honest with you, because I don't know how I would have done it. I was not attracted to her at all. But she had money and she was naive. So I got in her head. And convinced her that, I'm hardcore, secretly religious, and I don't believe in any interaction before marriage, not even kissing. And she bought it. She bought it. She respected me for it. And she would, try every now and then, but she would respect my no. That bought me a good 6 months. Coming and going when I please, taking a car, disappearing, all kinds of stuff. She was that kind of naive. And because she was older, she didn't go like that. Side note, funny as hell, she was in the military at the same base I just separated from. Never saw her though. But so she was well off. She was okay. I knew that, and she had a couple stripes on her arm, so I know she was straight. Had a little apartment, it was a geo tracker, and it was pink. You think I care? I took the little pink geo tracker and put rims on it, put a system in it, and pushed it, and called it my little baby. That was my little girl. Again, teenager, desperate. I just need to have something. So did that. I'll get into the story with that particular female because I regret her. I regret doing that to her. I never touched her once, but I put that poor woman into a mental institution, literally. I think she almost got separated, or maybe she did, but I made it to where this woman was so distraught over my behavior and the things I did and the fact that I had such a grip inside of her head, like I had a mental hold on her, that I drove her crazy to the point the military had to escort her to they came and took her away. And when they did that, because her family was trying to get her to leave me alone for years, for I don't know, just the whole time. It was like, he's no good. I could see straight through him, but I had her. So the moment I did that, keep in mind, I had it to where she made me beneficiary, everything. Like if anything happened to her, I had access to her check because I had the bank account information and all that. And so I was like, to me, it was great, good. They came and got her. Now I can just live here and live off her money that gets deposited in her account. And I got all the information. I got everything to it. That was the plan. Her mother wasn't having that. She cut all that off, explained to them exactly who I was, what I was, and what I was doing to her. And the military believed her, and they cut all that off quickly. And I'm glad they did, because there's no telling how far I would have taken it. All right. So by that time, I was straight down. Between the money I got from her, between the hustle, and just getting good at this, getting good at finding ways to make things happen, I was sitting high. So it didn't bother me. I was starting to feel bad anyway. And it wasn't going to last much longer. Sooner or later, I was going to have to touch her. And I wasn't going to. So that's when I left, and I had enough money to be on my own. I was upgraded in product and everything. So I was able to have people do things for me. And I was able to get a little apartment in someone else's name, had them, look, you go get this for me and I'll give you this. And that's what happened. And that was the apartment that I got and stayed in all the way, when I started stripping and all that. And if you go back to another video, I talked about how the first time I got shot and the dude kicked in the door. That was that apartment. I ended up upgrading the apartment after I started dancing and everything. But after I got that apartment and lived that life for a little while and kind of hustled and stacked my money, I no longer needed the third job. And that's when I was like, I need to do something better with my nights. And that's when I thought maybe I should start stripping. And that's what I did. This all happened within about a year span, So in that time, all I did was F up, grow my hair out, and learn how to be here, I guess. Just learn how to be. I can't say a man because I wasn't a man then. Nowhere near it. And, I'm not going to say if she's out there, I apologize. I'm not that kind of dude, but I should have did that. I should have did that to that girl. She was about 25, 26, and, I'm 18. I shouldn't have did that to her. So I do regret it. But hey, till next time.